Hi, welcome back to the Glass Studio. My name is Davin, and I'm a glass blower. You know, it's almost summer, and I think about pretty soon there's going to be some backyard barbecues, some nice sunny days, and hopefully some nice, crisp, refreshing beverages to cool off on those sunny days. So I think it'd be fun to make some fun receptacles to put those fun beverages in. I think it might be fun. So let's make some beer flutes. If you don't know what a beer flute is, stick around. You're about to find out. Remember to like and subscribe. And leave a comment below if there's something that you don't understand about what I'm doing, or there's something you want me to see me do in the future. Anyway, cheers. Let's go get some hot glass.
Okay, here we go. We're starting with a single gather, like we often do when we're going to work hot and fast on small thin objects like this beer flute. You're going to let that glass settle up, get round, and then take it to the marber to shape it up into a cylinder. This setup here is really critical for getting thin objects because round bubbles really don't like to blow into long skinny shapes. So what happens is that it really thins out that glass up toward the blowpipe before it gets down to the bottom, and so you get a nice thin rim, a nice thin neckline. You can really take advantage of that, the amount of glass you have. It's very, very different than the setup for a starter bubble. A starter bubble is generally a round gather, and you put a round bubble into it, and so you sort of match the shape of the glass to the shape of the bubble. So what I'm doing here is I'm just giving myself a little point, a little place that I can grab the glass. I took a reheat there, a nice long one. I'm letting it fall out. You'll see how long the neck is when I come back up. There we go. And this happens really quickly. This is called pulling a cup. So I'm going to blow, sort of squash and pull while I'm blowing. And there we go. 90% of the work is done to make that flute shape. You saw me use my calipers there. As usual, when I'm making a set of things, I'm working to specific measurements. These particular cups, 8 inches tall, 2 3/4 inches round at the rim, the diameter of the rim, and that holds pretty much exactly 12 ounces of liquid. Make sure I establish my jack line nicely and try to get it pushed back on center. At this point, I'm noticing that it's a little wide and a little short. So once I get it straightened up, which is mostly what I'm doing, you see there, I'm using the back of the jacks to push the neckline on center so it's lined up with the blowpipe. Double checking all my measurements. Now you're going to see me heat almost all of this object and use force by spinning it to elongate that bubble. And you'll see when I sit down now that I'm going to check and see where we're at with our measurements. Are we at our 8 inches? And looking good. And then I'll go ahead and inflate very gently. You can see that I'm tapping that foot pedal. So one of the things that would happen if I had somebody blowing is I might say blow, stop, blow. Then I'm going to get rid of that little nub.
That's how I feel about myself someday. I'm a different kind of wonk.
Today, we have a different kind of wonk.
So this is going to be a really interesting setup that we're going to use to do the foot on these. They're shaped with a special wooden tool for doing sort of traditional wine glass feet. So what I'm doing is I'm setting up the bottom here to accept this bit, and then you're going to see my partner bring over the bit. That's the footing tool. It's just 2 pieces of wood. It's got a groove in it. So this is where I need a partner. It's really difficult to do these on your own. The partner brings a bit. It has to be nice and round, thoroughly even and hot. They have to know what they're doing. I'm putting it on. Try to cut it as evenly as I can. I made quite a few of these that day. You can see that this one did not go on that straight, but it's okay. Just like a color drop, I'm gonna sort of push it back so that we kind of even it out. And you'll see here in a second that it gets a little bit off center. That's not a big deal. You'll watch me use the back of my jacks and push it back on center. And even there, it's better. And then you'll see when I sit back down, I'll do that same thing again. So that was like a 15-second heat maybe, sit back down, push on it with the back of the jacks, and you'll see now when I go and reshape it that it looks like it was put on almost perfectly on center. So there's wiggle room, in other words, even if it doesn't go on center. These are designed to be production items, right? So they're not absolutely perfect. You know, they're good enough. No one's gonna sit there and spin your cup. And if they do, then I don't know. See that move there, sitting down? If you haven't yet practiced that as a glass blower, as a beginning or learning or intermediate level glass blower, you should. That is one of the fastest and most gentle ways to go from the reheating furnace, the glory hole, to the bench. Have my partner bring me a punty. Same simple punty I always do. Straighten it up, and as you'll see, as always, I break it off real quick. The key to this move here, having a nice tight jack line. If you don't have a nice tight jack line, it's very difficult to use a nice delicate punty. That's where people start adding water and the necks crack and all this stuff. You don't need to do any of that. So I gave it a nice really long heat there. That was probably a minute and a half maybe. And I'm just going to tweeze this out. Now this is the tricky part. You don't really have time to use the calipers. You gotta guess where that 8-inch mark is, which is what I'm doing here. And I will have a pretty good day, other than that neckline, that opening being a little off center right now. You know, I hit that 8-inch mark pretty much every time we were within a 16th to an 1/8 inch height on every cup. This is a thread wrap. The key to these is, watch when I do the next one. Partner's gonna bring it. My object is sort of warm, otherwise that thin thread wrap won't stick. They're gonna cut and then they flip it so the hot side is down. I have to be turning before I touch, otherwise you put a big blob. And if you do it fast enough, I'm casting it off is what's happening there. By pulling really fast, that glass pulls back to a thin thread and then melts off. And then here we go, inflate the top. That changes the shape. That's really what the Soffietta is for, that bent puffing tool. And if you get the shape set up really good, you can open it in one shot, just like this. And there we go, 8-inch, hot and fast pulled beer flute. Now, most beer flutes are designed to be pints, but since I'm buying my beverages in 12-ounce cans or bottles, I decided to make something that would be appropriate for myself, so I could fill it up. Again, picking up this really thin object with cold, non-preheated Kevlar tongs, and they don't crack, so you do not need to preheat your tongs. There we have it, folks.